Hi, we're going to play a game called Arena Elder Scrolls. Well, it's called Elder Scrolls 1, and the subtitle is Arena. I'm going to show people how to play Elder Scrolls and some of the different races, starting with probably the Red Guards, because they're so quick at getting out of the first dungeon. DOSBox is a miraculous and wonderful godsend of a utility for playing DOS games, just as they were when they were out in the old heyday in the early 1990s. And I highly recommend anyone that plays DOS games download DOSBox 0.73. You just basically do the same thing you do in DOS, and it plays it pretty much the same way if you set the speed right. You mount your drives, and then you type in the commands just as you would in DOS. Underline CD. And there you are. If the camera's set up to look at the right. And this first bit will just give you the backstory of the whole universe of Elder Scrolls Tamriel. And since most people have a short attention span, we'll go ahead and bypass it with the escape key. You can hit S to save yourself carpal tunnel syndrome and use hotkeys. This music has a lot of bass elements, and if you go through this, you may annoy your neighbors. You can either select or generate a character. Generate is fine if you're just for the purpose of role-playing, just answer questions based on your own persona. I'm just going to go through and directly pick something. The archetype hero is a knight. I usually play knights. Actually, I'm going to play a Red Guard first, because they're good at getting out of the first dungeon, and I want this to be quick since YouTube only gives you 10 minutes. Did I say Red Guard? Yes, Red Guard. Okay, these are the provinces rather, in this big continent called Tamriel, which means Elven something or another, that you pick your races from. Hammerfell is where the Red Guards are from. Skyrim is where the Nords are from. Morrowind is where the Dark Elves are from. These three races here are best at playing warrior characters like knights, warriors, and in the case of Morrowind, warriors that implement magic as well. Black Marsh is fairly good at it, but they tend to rely more on their quickness than hitting hard. The Nords hit really hard, but they're awkward and clumsy and club-footed, and they are good at just warriors, but they aren't very accurate. So the true warriors really are Hammerfellians as far as use a skill and a weapon. They're not. This will tell you a description of these people, and each continent you click on will have a description of what the people are. Body and mind must be strong and well filled out to succeed as a knight. In other words, your mind and your body. So you just go through and you distribute points. Red Guards, it's pretty easy to generate what you want as far as getting out of this first Imperial pit. Imperial is a race that would be good as knights also, but you can't play them here. This game in Elder Scrolls 2, you can't play Imperials until Morrowind, which is Elder Scrolls 3. You want agility, and you want a speed of no less than 60 in order to even survive first dungeon. I mean, you can survive with the others, but with lower agility and speed, but it's usually pretty hard. Magic defense, they say your willpower is important for a knight. That comes later when you're dealing with mages and wizards that you fight as a knight, because you're dependent on your sword and shield. You don't have magic to fight back, you need to have defense against them. Okay, what did I just do? It's delay. Rhea Selmain, obviously an Imperial name. Okay, I'm going to go and bypass this screen. Imperials are Romans, basically, the Italians and the people that, except in this plane of existence, they're Imperials, but it's the same thing. Okay, the thing we do is we get out of the first dungeon, but we don't do it ASP. We don't do what Rhea Selmain necessarily says directly about going to the shift gate. The directions are pretty easy. You're blocked by a few walls or whatever. You want to go through and try to level up at least to level 3 because this dungeon is relatively easy compared to what you'll be dealing with outside, and you need to be level 3 to survive that. They'll make short work of you outside. Here it's pretty easy. I forgot to arm myself. Okay, this is your character sheet. Well, basically your equipment sheet, or inventory, for weapons. Now, the helm that I picked up, I was very fortunate to happen to get out of luck, you know, from the treasure chest. Your random items, sometimes you don't get much, sometimes you get a lot of stuff. The armor class is 9. I'll put that on. As you can see, it made it go down to 0. That's because it makes it more difficult for them to hit me than if I was a 9. A 10 is you're just standing there like a lout. 11, you're really in trouble. Okay, and a broadsword is the weapon I have. Starting equipment, damage of 12. If you add your strength bonus to that, you know, it'll be higher, but that's basically the weapon. A flail has better damage, so I'm going to use it instead. Even though it's not a bladed weapon, it's probably generally better against skeletons, but in this dungeon, basically damage is all you're worried about, not particulars in what kind of damage. I get a damage bonus of 2, so you add 2 points to the 14 damage maximum. In minimum of 2, that would be 4. It would now be 4 to 16 instead of 2 to 14. Intelligence is for other classes other than knights. Willpower, magic defense, which I had no bonus or penalty for. Agility gives you the accuracy of your hits and whether they land true, and defense, giving you the 9 bonus of armor class to start with when you're buck naked instead. After you practice whack shots with their new weapon, and you've got to get out. But I'm going to practice before I get out, because this character is only level 1 and you won't survive much outside, very long outside. You can swim in this game, and that may not be a big deal today, but in early 90s, 94, whatever, that was a big deal, to be able to do things other than just walk around the dungeon, or walk around. Plus there's an overworld, which isn't, we'll get into that later. We got a long ways to go. And as you can see, swinging the weapon involves, you hold the bounce button in relation to where you want the weapon to go. A quick downstroke, straight down, would be an overhead chop. Using an axe would be more effective with that. Maces are pretty good with it. If you go diagonally, that's a side diagonal strike, and you can go the other way as well, like that. A quick side stroke, as this going like that, will do directly side, other side, or you can do a jab, which is what you do with a dagger. There's a lot of virtual combat games out now, virtual interaction. In this time period, especially in a role-playing game, it was a pretty big deal. Okay, there's a secret passage around right there. You can find a lot of treasure if you explore the dungeons thoroughly and don't just hastily get out to the main objective. Sometimes 88 gold is decent. You can bargain people down if you have the right personality when you get out of the dungeon. Yay, barely, or whatever. We have gained an experience level. So now we're ready to talk to Rhea Silming and also get some points racked up here. I'd say willpower, because we already have adequate agility, strength, and the other one is speed and endurance. Now there's certain places you get treasure, and there's always some treasure there, but it may not be very good treasure. And then you can also get them off of these things, these goblin things. Sometimes. And my character just died.